if we're not doing the plans or helping with the plans, they'll come to us with finished plans. They want to design and get going. And all of a sudden we're like, oh, did you realize this? So now they're either changing their floor plan or they're having to compromise on a space they didn't really want to function that way. Having clients that trust us and that we trust them, that's always the top of our project. I think architecture is the most important thing that architects, designers, drafters, all of those can do.
If you don't have good architecture, then pretty much doesn't matter how good of an interior designer you have helping you.
It's all going to feel flat. Yep, I totally agree.
Welcome to Not a Licensed Architect, the podcast for residential designers out there doing the real work without the license and sometimes without the credit. I'm your host, Stephanie Thatcher, and if you've ever felt like you should be licensed to be taken seriously, but you're still showing up every day, designing real homes that real people actually live in, this is the show for you. Here, we get honest about the struggles, but even more importantly, we're talking about solutions, better floor plans, smarter business moves, and the confidence to finally own your role in the residential construction industry. So if you're ready to level up, lead your clients like the pro that you are, and finally own the fact that you don't need a license to design incredible homes, this is the podcast you've been looking for. Let's go. All right, welcome to today's episode of Not a Licensed Architect. I have my good friend with me, Liz Powell. She is an amazing interior designer here in the area that we live in northern Utah, and she does a lot of amazing high-end homes. And she and I have actually been able to work on a couple of projects together. We love collaborating, and she's always great to listen to all my crazy ideas.
I love them. I love them all.
Oh, well, that's really scary. You shouldn't probably feed the crazy I've got going on here.
It's great.
I appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about your background and where you are in the industry, all that kind of good stuff.
So my background is as a stay-at-home mom. Actually, I did that for 25 years. And then as my kids just got older, I just really always craved construction and design and all of that. I've really loved it. My husband and I have built several homes, and I love that process. And so, yeah, as I had found myself with more time on my hand, I just really wanted to start helping other people with their projects. So I started small with kitchen remodels and things like that. And it's just 7 years later grown into a firm that my husband and I co-own, and we focus on high-end residential. So it's
bravo.
Great
To be able to work with your spouse.
Yeah.
That is not what everybody could do. So that's amazing. Yeah. So he left his job to come help run your design firm.
Yeah, his background's in corporate America. He's a mechanical engineer, so he's worked in all sorts of companies and has a really good design eye and knows CAD and all of those things that we use here in the office to draw beautiful drawings for our clients. So his skills have been just super, super helpful. So that's been great.
Amazing. That's really amazing. Okay, so what's your favorite type of project?
My favorite type of project, I guess my favorite would be great clients. I love dealing with great people. It kind of sets the tone. So having clients that trust us and that we trust them, having a good relationship, that's always the top of our project. And with that trust comes their willingness to do some fun things, to have something different, to let us design a home that feels timeless, that is based on architecture. I talk about architecture a lot, and I've teased you a little bit like I should have been an architect, because I think architecture is the most important thing that architects, designers, drafters, all of those can do. So.
I'm kind of partial, but what brought me back, after, studying a couple of years of interior design myself, and my official, bachelor's degree says interior design, even though half of the time was studying architecture. But yeah, I think that architecture is the bones of the whole project. And if you don't have good architecture, then pretty much doesn't matter how good of an interior designer you have helping you, or whatever, however good of taste you have, it's probably going to feel like something's missing.
It's all going to feel flat. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
So I'm glad that we are on the same page.
Yeah.
But I love that. Now I know you've told me about some of the great clients that you've worked with who, when you talk about doing really fun things and having great clients to work with, I'm reminded of some of the ones who they really kind of they trusted you almost explicitly and didn't offer a ton of input. They were just like, we trust you, make the decision, and tell us how that went.
Yeah. I mean, boy, when you can get that, it's really, really
It's like
special. And you
magic,
get to
right?
do really special things. Now, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want clients who have a voice. And if there's I want them to love the project. So I don't expect a client to just come in and say, we blindly trust you and maybe we'll like it, maybe we won't. I want them to love their home.
Well, and they have to give you some input up front,
Yes.
initially at least,
Yes.
so that you know what they will like. You can't just guess at what they like. They need
for
to
sure
guidance.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So they're a client who
Okay.
already kind of knows, like the most important thing they need to know is what architectural style they want. And from there, they need to trust us that we're going to pick the best door style for that architecture, for that home. We're going to pick appropriate carpets. We're going to pick appropriate tile that's going to help that home just feel right and feel full. You know what I mean?
Yes. So it's like the architectural style informs the decisions of the selections and the finishes that you're going to,
1000%. Yes.
all those 10 million decisions that you have to make as you go through the whole construction process, right?
For sure. And it makes our job so much easier too, because if I know they want a mid-century modern home, I already know that we're doing one of two door styles in their home. Like it already kind of narrows the field of what's appropriate to put in that home and how to address the exterior. We're not just picking anything. We're picking what's appropriate for that style.
Right. You've got like your go-to products and finishes and stuff that speak to that architectural style.
Yeah.
So that brings me to the plans. Like, what can somebody like me who's putting together the floor plans, what can we do to help your clients and help you make that process a lot easier?
Well, I think that the most important thing that designers like you can do is to understand architecture in the first place. You have a really good grasp on this, so I'm preaching to the choir here.
I mean, I hope that people out there doing what I'm doing, understand architecture. That's very good.
Yes, that's very critical. I have found in my experience that working with other local architectural designers who don't have an architect degree or have not studied architecture, I feel like they have thought, oh, I learned the program to draw up house plans and that's what I'm doing, but they don't understand architecture and scale, how to make the exterior right and the windows right and things like that.
Okay. I was trying to figure out I don't understand what people could be lacking, but even though, I know I'm lacking some things too. So somebody who knows more than me would probably be like, come on, Stephanie, there's more things. But that you mentioned those things and I can see that where it's just like where they know how to put a roof on using CAD.
Yeah.
But do they have the right pitch? Do they have the right size overhang, the right size fascia? Like, is it a hipped roof or is it a gabled roof? Do they have all the details of that roof in place that speak to the architectural style?
Yeah,
right.
For sure. Yeah. And so not only knowing what elements belong in what different types of architecture, but also being able to verbalize that to a client, because clients come to us, come to me, come to you every day, and they have an idea, but they don't always know all of the details.
Right.
And so one criticism I've heard about another architectural designer was that the client got in front of that person and was like, what should we do? And he said, I don't know. What do you want? You know what I mean? So,
I know what you mean.
It's a little bit of your responsibility as you're designing it to understand architecture so you can lead them.
Yes.
And it's great if you have a designer who understands architecture, if you have a contractor and we're all working as a team and everybody has their input. But when it's just you and the client, they're coming to you for your expertise.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure you can lead them and suggest things and say, you know what, actually, I know you like this roof, but I don't think this is the best roof for this home, and here's why, or here's why we need to change the windows, that sort of thing. So.
And it's not an industry standard, and it's something that I hope this podcast can help to change, because there isn't a distinct like job title or way that we can identify the individuals who are putting together the floor plans. So it's, for me, the person you just described is a CAD operator or a drafter. Somebody with
Yes.
very minimal skills. They're just kind of like hyper focused on just running a CAD program and doing the drafting. They might not even
Yes.
understand fully what a complete floor plan set would require, like specifically to
Right.
the municipality or where they're designing in their region and stuff, let alone architectural styles, home
Yeah.
styles, and how those are all informed. And so that's the difference to me. Drafter, CAD operator versus a designer.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to pause just for 1 second. Hang on 1 second. Okay, so what are some of the things that are there any specific things that you can think of that you particularly are looking for on the floor plans? General information, but specific, if that makes sense. So like, generally I need to have like the size of the room or whatever.
Sure. Yeah, well, and that's actually what I was going to say. I mean, really, we're working on some space planning and what light fixtures to put in. So good measurements of the space help us to know if the seating arrangement that the client wants is actually going to fit. If they want a giant sectional, is that going to fit? If they have a king size bed and they want windows on the side, are those in appropriate places? Things like that.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it almost from that finished back perspective
Right.
versus starting, trying to imagine what it's going to look like, and then what we have on paper, is that going to work?
Which
Does that make sense?
I love that you say that. You like basically are working backwards. You're working from the finished product backwards. And I mean, I've never thought about it in words like that, but I guess that's essentially what I do too. Because we include space planning on our plans.
Right, right.
And to me, that's just like not even an option going to happen.
It shouldn't be an option.
It should not be an option. That was because as you were talking, I was thinking like, what do you do if you get a floor plan that the designer, the architect or whatever hasn't thought through the space planning? They haven't thought about the flow or the focal point or, like specific features in the room or whatever. Those are like my three key, things that I'm looking for is the flow, the focal point, the features. What do you do? Because what if you get a plan that you're like, the space planning is not working. The windows are in the wrong spot. The fireplace is in the wrong spot. You're just like, what do you do?
Thing is, it means the client is either spending more money, because that happens to us sometimes. If we're not doing the plans or helping with the plans, they'll come to us with finished plans. They want to design and get going. And all of a sudden we're like, oh, did you realize this? Did you realize this? So now they're either changing their floor plan, or they're having to compromise on a space they didn't really want to function that way. And now that's just going to be how it is. You know what I mean? Some of those things we can change, but some of them you can't. So,
right. Which goes back to why we think architecture is so critical.
Right. Yep.
Because
agreed.
Yeah, I've got a whole story about that. Hang on. I'll get to it. Yeah. So way like clear back after I had just graduated from college, and I was working as an interior designer for, I don't know, I think it was the local furniture store. I went out on a consultation, and these clients, and people have probably heard this before, but these clients had just built a brand new house, and they were calling me out there to come help, kind of like finish it out.
Yeah.
From the very moment I walked through the front door, I knew I couldn't help them. Literally, like it was just like the problems had to do with what went on in the build. It had to do with the floor plans. It had to do with the architecture. And I was just like, and that was like that moment for me where it's just like, oh yeah, I got to get back to architecture because that's where I can help people the most.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think if I were giving advice to anyone who's trying to build a custom home, it's really about like assemble the best team you can. Get the best architectural designer, the best contractor, the best interior designer, and let them work as a team in the beginning and start it off right. Because boy, that happens all the time, especially because there are so many unlicensed architectural designers that just took a class in CAD and now know how to run that program, and they're giving the client a really great price.
Right.
Oh, I can get my plans for this. Why would I pay this person this much money?
Right.
But then
I know
it's just one thing after another. So
yeah.
Just
I know.
team.
Our heart hurts, right? Totally. So, okay, so because you worked on different projects and you get plans brought to you, right? Have you had plans that have come? I know you've seen some from me and you've seen some from other, unlicensed design stuff.
Yeah.
What about, have you had actual floor plans from fully licensed architects or architectural?
Yes.
So can you describe any big differences that you saw between those? Any?
I would say the architecture element that I talked about
That you
before.
described?
We're working on one now with a big architecture firm, and they know architecture, and I don't have to almost put anything in as my 2 cents for the architecture, because they get it. What they're designing is beautiful, it's correct. So it does make my job a lot easier when I'm not having to lead that sort of thing. It's nice to just have that trust a little bit, to just say, oh, they have this. I don't have to make sure they have
they get it, and that they're
it's a little bit it's a little more work. I will say architects, my experience has been varied. I've worked with several, and several of them have been very difficult to work with.
Really?
There hasn't been a collaborative approach.
Is it because they have a team themselves, like pre-assembled in their firm? And so coming out.
I don't know, maybe it could be. And I just
and this
feel
isn't architecture bashing by anybody's end.
Because I've worked with fantastic ones. I think it's more in their attitude going forward.
So and it's probably just a personality thing.
Yes. Maybe. And I think that you could find this in our interior designers. You could find this in contractors.
Yeah.
But this unwillingness, like, I'm the smartest person in the room. Gotcha. No one else should have. We had one experience where we were in the beginning coming up with concepts. And after our first meeting, the architect told the client, it's her or me. Like I'm doing the architect, I'll do it. And you can talk to her once the plan is done. I don't want her input. He just,
I mean, like, okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a second. I'm wondering if it changed the scope of work for the architect enough that it made his fees or her fees or whatever, like their proposal and whatever, like it kind of made all of that totally irrelevant.
Yeah.
They didn't know how to move forward with that information, or literally thought that they were just smart enough that they didn't need your input. Because to me, when I'm working with someone like you, I've learned things, even though I studied both architecture and interior design, I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on both sides of the coin here, but I still learn things from working with other professionals. And so, like, for example, some of the things that I've now incorporated into my work is like, what are my termination, viewpoints or whatever. And like, what is the sight line, which I always had sight line in mind, but it was more about like views from public spaces to private spaces or whatever. But from the interior designer's point of view, it's just like, I'm looking down a hall and do I see half of a door? Do I see the whole door? And so it's like, or is there a blank kind of canvas where I can hang some artwork? And so kind of think ahead to more than just the space planning, but the finishes of it.
For sure. Yeah.
How it's going to look and feel. So I always think it's great because it might not go exactly how I've structured the process to go, because now I've got somebody else giving input, but it's the same thing with, getting input from a builder.
Yeah.
Just makes my work better.
Agreed. And I understand that all of us in our own companies, we have processes and we have ways that we charge and scopes of work. And all of that. I think it's more for me, yeah, just about the attitude of collaboration. That's who I want to work with. I want to work, and I don't, I am totally okay being in meetings and people saying, you know what, we're not going to do that. Like, I don't feel like all my ideas have to be taken, but I think the client gets a better project and better outcome when there is a collaborative approach.
Yeah, and to be fair, I could bring up the time that I said the project is at a point that we really like to change the window sizes. It's not going to happen.
We're just done. Yep. And I can appreciate that because you're looking at it from a different angle that I'm looking at it too. You know what I mean? So
yeah, so I like that. So more than what is like on the paper or the work that they produce or whatever, it's more about attitude and mindset.
Yes.
And so just having that collaboration, realizing that another perspective might actually make the project better. And don't we want the project that our names are involved with to be the best that they can be?
Yes, for sure. We do. Yeah.
I think.
Agreed. Yeah.
I don't know. But okay, how would you describe like I don't know, I guess I'm wondering like what's the one piece of advice that you could offer to maybe somebody either in your field or somebody who wants to do the work that I do? What kind of advice can we offer them to help them like level up or be that kind of person that other professionals want to work with or that clients, quite frankly, want to hire and pay good money for? Not just pay the minimum, like just get by, but can actually start to, charge a decent fee. Like what kind of advice can you give them? Especially because
I think
came, from your background and stuff.
The only thing that came to me was just to keep learning and to become an expert in what you're doing. I know this is something you do, but for someone who does what you do to get out on site and to see how what you drew actually translates in the construction world and what maybe didn't translate enough, I think those things are really invaluable. I think anytime an architectural designer can spend with a really great contractor. We've talked about this before, the things you learn on how to draw plans or how it translates into that construction world are just invaluable. And I just find that all of that information just builds you to be an expert that the difference really shines through. I don't know, there's something about it. I mean, you're like this in the Valley that I think clients know they can come to you and they know they're going, they can rest assured that they're going to feel good about the design they got and that it's going to be thorough and well done.
That is the goal for sure. I like that you say that to like keep learning. I think a lot of people, and I like myself included, when I think about learning something that's completely foreign to me, I get super overwhelmed. And so I think we don't want to make anybody feel overwhelmed, but all it takes is just one little thing, and suddenly you've got this compound effect. Like the example that I use is one year I decided I was going to switch CAD programs. I thought this other CAD program, and it's a great CAD program too. The one I use is awesome. This other one that I was switching to is amazing. And I've just thought, it's got some features that I think I like, and I think it's going to be better for me. And I went all in, and I was fully committed. And then after about 6 months or so, I realized I am down here in my skill level in this program, and I'm here at my skill level in this program. So I can continue, to put the effort forward to increase my skill levels in this program. But the time that it would take for me to go from here to here, I might as well just keep going. And I can go, here in that one. So I switched back. And it's not that I wasn't willing to do that, but I just knew I could offer more, better services and better output by staying in this lane. But I had to commit to still keep improving.
Yeah.
Because if we're not taking time a little bit, maybe every day, every week, and it can be so imperceptible that we don't even recognize that we're learning something new. But when you look backwards, you're like, whoa, wow. Like, I did that. My colleague and we've been working on creating some tools and whatever, like templates and things in our work so that we can work faster and smarter. And it was painful. Oh my gosh. And of course,
being a little bit naive about what we were getting into was super helpful.
Yeah.
Not knowing that it was a big project that we were undertaking, but we're a year into it now. We're like, man, that is awesome where we are. And there's a little bit of pain points, but so I think that that's great where if people can just take one thing at a time, what are some of the things that you can say as you look backward in your last 7 years or whatever? What can you see that you were able to, like grow in your skills and in your abilities and things that you've learned over time?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's my ability to just ask questions on site. I've been blessed to work with some really fantastic contractors, and I have no shame about asking questions. And I've had contractors that are just really honest with me. And as we're going through the build, they're saying, okay, I know you designed it like this, but do you see why maybe this would be better?
Oh, that's so invaluable.
If you wrapped around the tile, this is the effect.
Yeah.
And if you use a drain like this, here's the pros, or the cons of using it. You know what I mean? If you use this finish, this is the pro or con to it. And just learning, asking questions. I ask a lot of questions about the construction, about the trusses, about things that don't seem like they have a lot to do with me, but over the years, that knowledge, I think, has made all the difference to where our firm is at this point, because it changes the way I design. And I think it makes our firm better at designing and giving the client the product that they're going to be happy with.
Okay, so what I'm just hearing is that if you understand construction and if you understand architecture, and if that builder understands your end goals and the work that you're bringing to the table and how I'm doing it, and I understand, like if we all understand a little bit about, what each other professional is bringing to the table, man, that's
the key.
So powerful.
Yeah. And if we can convince clients that they will save time, they will avoid mistakes by hiring the right team. It doesn't have to be me. It doesn't have to be you. There are great people out there. But if you can assemble the best team and put your money into getting it done right in the beginning, whether you end up buying furnishings and all of that and doing all the fancy stuff in the end, like, it's not really about budget, but it's about investing money in the right place.
Yeah. So this is kind of what I've started saying is, like, you're going to spend the money anyway. You're either going to spend it in the amount of time that it takes or in the fixes that need to happen because, we didn't think ahead, or now we have to pause the project because we're waiting for the thing to come in or for this to get on this guy's schedule that we didn't think about, like whatever. And so when you say it will save time and there was one other thing that you said, I just forgot, but to
money, time.
Well, yeah, I was going to say those things actually equal money. And
they do.
I don't tell people that they'll save money by hiring me or the right builder or a good interior designer or whatever, but I just tell them that they're going to spend their money better and they'll have a better product. So they're going to spend that money anyway. Do they want it to be hard and painful and not the end result that they want, or do they want it to be easy and enjoyable and to have a beautiful finished product?
100%. Yeah. Right now, actually, like 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, maybe, a former client called me. We'd worked with them maybe a year ago to help they were doing a large remodel, and we helped them a little bit with the floor plan, get that right. And then when we sat down to talk about interior design, as it often goes, the wife wants interior design and the husband's like, no, babe, you can do it. You can do it. You got a good eye. And we don't need to spend all that money. And that's fine. So they decided to go a different route. And she called me in tears a couple of days ago. They have made multiple expensive mistakes. Nothing has gone right. And it's just been nothing but frustration. And now they're paying me that money that they would have paid me before to step in.
Yeah. Did it cause any tension in their relationship?
No, she didn't mention any. I know that she was just in tears the first time I met with her. I met on site and she was just in tears about it with how much stress. She was just a ball of nerves. She couldn't, things weren't going right. She was unsure that she was making the right decisions because they made a couple decisions. And when they implemented them, they did not go well. They did not look good. And so they had to scrap it. She had just spent her whole Christmas vacation
Oh,
worrying and stressing, and you could just tell it was like taking this physical toll on her.
okay,
And
so those are the intangibles, right? Those are the things that people don't even think about. Like, okay, how much time will you spend researching a product, shopping for the product, like deciding and trying to determine whether it actually works in the master plan and the master, the overall look, and does it really work with the style that I'm going through? Like second guessing yourself and getting all other people's opinions, and then you're more confused. And and then
for sure,
about the stress and the overwhelm. So you've got all these things that people, it's just really invisible work, and people don't really recognize the value in that. All they sometimes see are dollar signs, and I get it because I'm right there with them.
Yeah, we all have a budget. I get
we
it.
all do. Yeah, it doesn't matter if your budget is $10 million or $100,000. There's still that budget. And
well, and it's like the door example I gave you earlier. Like, how much time is it for them to go down to the door showroom and to look through doors and to pick one that they like that probably doesn't work with their architecture?
right.
Where once we've established architecture, I know in 10 seconds that we're going to choose one of two doors. You have this option or this option, and we're done. Or
and that's because you have kind of like pre-vetted. It's not that there's only two options available. It's just that those are the two that you have found work best, maybe like with that particular style, with the way that they're going to do the finish work, with the, the climate that we live in. Like there's so many factors that go to it. It's not just picking a door.
Right. Same, like trim, same goes with trim work. I think the hard thing is people, I kind of talked about this earlier, but when we're talking about the interior, people come to me with inspo, and most of the time that inspo has nothing to do with each other. They've got shiplap over here, and they've got something very traditional here, and this and that, and left to their own devices, their home is going to get finished and something's going to feel off.
It's going to be a hodgepodge.
Architecture, yes. And in 5 years, they're going to be like, I don't like that focal wall that we did, that I used to like. That's not cool anymore,
Right.
So helping direct those so that they still love it, but that we're editing what they love in a way that feels more cohesive.
So I'm hearing you say things like it's not that we're going to like completely disregard any of like the trends or whatever, because there are some things that people might call a trend that become a timeless new, feature that has never been done before. And that's really cool. But the other thing that I heard you say, let me think if I can remember, get my thoughts together. So many things that I was thinking at the time, but just, I wanted you to bring up the term that you use. It's one of my favorite terms. I used to tell people to look for repeating themes in their inspiration photos, and you call it something similar. What's the phrase that you like to tell people? Put you on the spot.
What is it called? Oh,
we got it. You got it. Common denominators.
Common denominators. Common denominators. Yes. Looking for those common denominators. Yeah.
So very, very similar in the way that we are advising our clients. Like look for, don't just pull a picture that you think is pretty. Find one that has, if you want to best help you or me, if the client wants, if we want, the best input from them, they need to come to us with like, we have determined that this type of column is what we like the best. Or we see all these photos with these types of windows. We like this. And if you can find a picture that has every element that is, belongs with your style and your taste,
for sure.
Heaven.
It's great. Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we're like copying or duplicating. Just pictures are worth 1,000 words. And especially when an individual doesn't know the right words to say, or they don't understand the words that we are saying to them, then that picture is where, words can't duplicate.
Yes, that is true. I have a client right now that I'm working with that they came for an initial design meeting. And from what they were telling me, the word modern was coming to mind. Not a very cozy modern, but not a sterile modern, but still very clean lines, very modern kind of a style. So I kept using that word. And then that meeting ended. She came back another time and she was editing a little bit like, I, I think you're going the wrong direction with this. I was thinking more like this. And I realized our definition of modern was very different.
Isn't that
And I thought that that was
fascinating?
really interesting. When I was saying it, I was picturing one thing. And when she was saying, she was
Yep.
picturing a completely different thing.
Yep.
So every time I said it, she was like, oh,
Ugh.
oh, that. So yeah, spending that time to get on the same page
So
and to
funny.
go through, sometimes clients will have opposing pictures. Maybe an exterior is very farmhouse, but an interior is very traditional or something like that. And rather than just doing those because that's what they want, sitting there and talking to them, educating them about
Uh-huh.
maybe more, let's take that traditional outside and inside. Maybe there's can be some elements of farmhouse, like something rustic, wood columns or
Yeah.
something, but meshing those a little bit and being able to talk the client through that.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what you said, like you ask a lot of questions with the contractors, but also asking a lot of questions of the homeowners too.
Yeah.
So that we make sure and we can repeat back, this is what I understood. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, if I say it back, I might be using words that make the clients be like, ooh, no.
Not that.
And quite honestly, back to that point too, where you were talking about asking the contractors a lot of questions and stuff. I was going to mention back then that I haven't had a contractor yet that I can think of, and maybe I'm just really good at like dismissing them when they do act this way, but I literally, most contractors that I've worked with have been amazing
Yeah.
and super willing to, like answer my questions, take a minute, make sure that I understand whatever. None of them have ever made me feel dumb. Ever,
Agreed. Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
And so it I it's so worthwhile to ask the questions.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
Well, and
key.
I think their name is on it too, and they want a great, project, and they want to be proud of their work as well. And so, yeah, I found the same thing where contractors are invested in those things because they want the process to go smoothly as well and need to be on the same page. So,
Yeah, I 100% agree. Okay, how can we recap? Can you give us the top three things? I took
yeah,
some notes.
I mean, I think being collaborative
Yeah,
and
that's a good one.
to just keep learning, learn from other people, learn more about your craft, just become better. I mean, you and I do this and have talked about this a lot, just our own processes and just running a business. Those things are still really, really important for anybody in any of these industries to provide a good experience for the client, to provide a great outcome. I think those are things we can always kind of be updating. It's been lovely to have my husband on board because he's really good at those processes. And
Those
where
systems and things.
I've been really busy just with design, and to run a whole company by yourself, it's just so much that sometimes I'm like, I'm going to get to that process. I know I should do it a different way, but I'm going to get to it because I have so much on my plate.
Right.
So how to have a team with that and for him to really be able to focus on some of those processes
Oh,
has helped us so much.
yeah, and again, there's a lot of invisible things. So if you're like if you're somebody who's coming up through the ranks of, in these professions, it's something to take note of. I remember hearing from people who are ahead of me that, it's going to get busy. You're going to be overwhelmed at some point, or you'll forget, or whatever. You'll like your files will get all messy before you know it. And I'm like, no, I got this. Oh, my files are, and I could probably list a handful of things where I'm just like, oh man, if only I would have listened to
Oh,
the
yeah.
person who was ahead of me and set things up better when I wasn't as busy.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because once you get busy, oh,
Yeah,
it's crazy. And then
yeah,
that's where mistakes get made or clients get forgotten about or
yeah,
don't have a great experience and all of
yeah,
that. But yeah,
yeah.
just keep learning.
I
Be
love,
nice.
I
Be
love,
nice.
there's never anything bad that comes from being nice, right? That's perfect. Okay, I love it. I think that that's great. And I know it's not necessarily like floor plan specific, but that's exactly what we're here for. We're here to learn how we can like all level up this whole industry collectively as a united front.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to continue on with this reputation for the homeowners that designing and building a custom home is a threat to your marriage or your mental health or
Right. Yeah.
or your budget.
Yeah. Or that you won't be heard. I mean, that's what we have it. We won't be heard, or we're going to push their ideas. There's a lot of stuff about it, but finding the right team, finding people you can be honest with, that you have a good rapport, that you feel like hear you, that understand your vision. That's always going to give the client the best experience.
100%. I agree. Hey, where can people find you? How can they work with you?
Let's see. Our website is lizpowelldesign.com. So you can check us out there and fill out a form to work with us there. You can call our office and just Google that information. We're just here downtown Logan, but we do projects nationwide. So,
and Instagram or
Instagram, Liz Powell Design. And I think I'm on Facebook. I don't know. I don't really look at there's a lot. There's still growth to be had here.
There is. That's why we're doing this.
And it's a good thing, because that looks like that's on the way. So anyway.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us and for offering your insights and your wisdom.
Always a pleasure.
All right. Take care, Liz. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for hanging out with me on Not a Licensed Architect. If you're ready to stop second guessing yourself and start owning your place in this industry, make sure to follow the show and share it with another designer who needs to hear it too. And if you want more real strategies and floor plan tips you can actually use, head on over to dostudios.co for more courses and resources to supercharge your residential design career. Remember, you don't need a license to design a home or a life you're proud of. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you next time.